Hello, welcome to Between the Realms for July the 27th, 2020. I am Carol Omar Behan, welcoming again those who have come along for some of these videos, one or more or all, and a special welcome to anyone for whom this is a first viewing. It's an adventure I've been on all of 2020, and in January for the new moon, inside in my room with extra something on to keep me warm. You dream about days like this months in advance. We did not dream about what was going to be visiting us beginning in March and through which we are all now navigating. So, Between the Realms, and if you've watched other videos and you're looking at the pond and you're thinking, that's not the pond she usually includes in the background. And I'm going to make it the central piece of this. I don't want to kind of lurk into the edge of this for too long. I want you to be able to enjoy this other pond. It's in the upper part of the 7 acres where Lightspring Glen is here on the northwest corner of the Catskills, the small paradise that I get to call home. Before I duck out of the picture, so you can just listen to me if indeed you are, or you could just put it on mute and watch the pond. That's entirely up to you. But among other things, the lower pond, the one right behind the house by the hemlock grove, has gotten very low because we are not really in a drought, but we've been without a whole lot of rain. This beautiful pond up here, which, oh my goodness, and just over my shoulder, I know you can see, and I'm going to duck out of here and just chat from over on the side. But isn't that gorgeous, the way the sun lights up? Okay, I'm out of the screen. Look at how the sun is lighting up those overhanging branches and the way the light bounces back up and sends, to my mind, a very magical, scintillating light up and down. And then there, and oh my gosh, if you catch, one of the reasons I'm not in there is, you know what I tend to do is talk with my hands. I'll do it over here, you won't even know it. And then the reflection. So I believe I was saying something about the lack of rain and where we are today. There's actually a heat advisory for this part of, well, I guess all over New York State and maybe a good deal of the Northeast. So this is why I know I'm going to give the name for this video as a steamy love note from Lightspring Glen, because that's so much of what I feel is happening when I get to come out here with my humble camera phone and record some thoughts for you, but also record, and maybe by now I'm already muted and you're just enjoying what you're seeing before you. Or maybe you can watch it again and put it on mute. That probably would be even better. Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow, oh wow. I'm going to share with you 2 of my favorite writers, and I'm going to start out with E.B. White, who you may know because you read Charlotte's Web, or you saw the movie, or both. E.B. White was a wonderful philosopher, countryman, Maine dweller, as in the state of Maine. And on my Facebook post or page this morning, I shared one of my favorite quotes of his. And it's somewhat paraphrased, so bear with me. This is the way, when it comes to mind, I hear it in my mind's ear. I rise in the morning, torn between a desire to save the world and a desire to savor the world. This makes it hard to plan the day. How true for me. how true for many of you in these times. Um, I'm sure hoping, for those of you who are more or less regulars of seeing these videos, I am sure hoping that this is finding you well. There is so very, very much that we wake up to every day. It confronts us. We're confronted with so much to live through, and do so in balance, and do so with some way of finding joy in every day, and finding ways to express gratitude for the many beauties of the world, which don't stop. None of this stops just because I might be back at the house fretting over something I heard on NPR, or deciding where it is I should go to help out my community in a day or two or on that day. Um, and I think one of the purposes after these videos got started in January, and there was a different vision I had of them then. You could go back and watch the first one, and I was excited to undertake this new creative output of mine. I've been a writer. I still am a writer. I've actually done an online podcast show, which it's a couple of years beyond that now, but there's still episodes available, and I love doing that for a year and a half, interviewing people who were making a difference, in particular for the environment, and helping to heal the earth. So this is kind of a new iteration of all of that, you might say. And as I've expressed before, we got into the pandemic, big sigh, she heaves. And I quickly realized that among the many things people were offering from their home spaces, that there was something I could offer as well. Not just kibitzing, not just bemoaning, not just fear things, not just that. I had something to offer that would help anyone who tuned in, hopefully, to find some consolation, some certain joy conveyed. And certainly now that I'm outside here making these recordings, there is certainly all of that. So I go on with this, and I've not quite continued the pace of every week, kind of back to the new moon and full moon cycles. And speaking of sky events, we are on the 27th of June, just past a rather significant weekend for those of you who are astrologically and spiritually inclined to know that Saturday, the 25th, was called the Day Out of Time. Did my hand just slip in here? The Day Out of Time. So if you're watching this without sound, you may be wondering, what the heck is she saying now? The Day Out of Time. And that yesterday, Sunday, the 26th, is the opening of the new solar year. In Egypt, and the beautiful, incredible goddess, huge mother goddess, Isis, was celebrated in particular in that culture, and as a follower and energetic connection as I have with the Icean energies and work I've done. Rising each morning with the sun now is the star Sirius, and it is in the constellation of Orion. So Google that and see what you come up with if you're drawn to know anything about it at all. But I sure as heck hope, pause for a sip of water, that you have had your eyes to the skies in the last weeks after dark to catch a glimpse of the most beautiful galactic visitor, Comet Neowise. Comet Neowise. And I found out that Neowise is an acronym for the agency, struggling for a word, that are the folks who first spotted it and who drew it to our attention. We haven't been familiar with it because it only comes around about every 6,800 years. I am thoroughly stoked that I am here in this lifetime to see it. And a week ago, a friend was here. You know who you are, MK. And we went out on my front porch gasped with joy to see it with our naked eyes, and then through binoculars, even more amazingly, quietly humming along beneath the Big Dipper. Um, it is getting somewhat further from us now, but it is still visible. There's certainly been a whole lot of wonderful posts of pictures. So you can be awed by that. But even if you go out in the next night or two and it's a starry sky, or it will be less so because the moon is growing brighter towards full, you will know it is there and just let its beautiful energy communicate with you. Um, Such a joy of this summer, and I believe it's brought us some really special messages, and I'm working on that. Stay tuned. A small joy. I'm going to put a link in the details that can occur, and I always add something below these videos that will link you to an article that came my way a week ago about cultivating joy in hard times. The author knows what she's speaking of, and you will find out when you read it, but how joy is a survival tactic. And since I'm a person that works hard on cultivating joy as often as I can, part of it is letting your inner child have full reign. Work on that part for yourself. It's a wonderful article, so you might enjoy going to have a look at it. Certainly what I've done through these videos is offer, especially as we went into times when people were sheltering at home, we're doing that less, was keeping you company a little bit, certainly that, but offering things that help me as an earth lover, earth pilgrim, earth warrior, earth advocate. And not tooting my own horn, it's simply what I know I came here to do in this life. I've done a whole lot of other things, but the second half of my life, 20 years into it now, has been focused on that. So they're videos that I have come up with. You're all earth lovers. You wouldn't be even watching this muted if you weren't an earth lover. And a great fan of Mother Earth, and at time to time being in distress for her, as well you should. So I won't go on about that. It comes up enough in the other videos. But I've offered a number of ways for you to increase your connection with Mother Earth or continue to practice it. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Look up that joke. So in this summer, which is reminiscent of some summers of my young adulthood, I think my hand just slipped into the picture again. And I'm thinking of the summers in Detroit when the streets were on fire. There are echoes and echoes through all of this of the times I won't wax eloquent about, but I'm old enough to remember all of that echo, that mirror. We're on another curve of the spiral, another upswing of the spiral. I am very encouraged. So there are things to continue to not just go out and get away from things, so that's part, to be out there in the serenity of some natural place, but to remember to find that tree friend again that I suggested you look up and kindle a wonderful connection with. There's another fire image there, isn't there, on this steamy day. To be barefoot as much as you can on the earth, not on the concrete, if you can find a patch. Another article I should probably post, but I might talk about it, is literally how our barefoot connection with the earth, not only does Mother Earth love it, but it is a chance for those free electrons that exist in there. I don't know how, it's all magic to me, which infuses your person through your feet. And if you lie down, you get it even more. Helping to strengthen and boost your immunity, the antioxidants of your body. And it's much more than a physical boost. It is mental and spiritual, and get out there and do it as much as you can, especially those of you who know we're going to shovel snow again in a few months, no matter what, because the seasons go around. Last but not least, because I want to get to Joy Harjo and read her poem before this becomes too long for everybody to hang with until the very end. I think the heat is going to my head, but here it is. If you don't already think to do this, no matter what you're up to on any given day, every so often, and I'd make it regular if you could. Oh, do you hear the cicada? I'm not sure it's going to be picked up, but I'll find out later. Yeah. To breathe, to breathe, to breathe, to stop, close your eyes, feel yourself connected with the earth. Blow out whatever you've got in your lungs, and breathe in deeply. Breathe in deeply, and then exhale it out from your diaphragm. Blow out that kind of stale, dead, dank air deep down, and then blow it all out and breathe in again. It recharges you. Oh my gosh, there are dragonflies. If you zoom in now and then, there'll be dragonflies going by. There are a lot of them this year. Okay, I'm going to do one more diversion and then go to Joy Harjo. The birds are often part of these videos. The crows were a big part of the last one. And I want to mention a particular bird by this time of the summer. So we're here in late July. And you can well imagine there's bird song abundantly here in the spring and through the summer. The birds are catching a break now. They've done all their nesting, their territory setting up, their egg hatching, their nestlings, fledglings. Mama, dead, feed me, all of that takes a toll on your energy. And then successfully fledging those, I think that was a fledging zoop in my hand. Well, the birds have grown very quiet. They're resting. Oh, there were 2 dragonflies just by. They're kind of, I think they're doing something dragonflies do to make baby dragonflies. I'm a little goofy, and it's not even that hot here. It's probably in the mid-70s right where I'm sitting. All right, but let me tell you, and if you don't have this bird near you, do Google the bird song of the wood thrush. They have been abundant this year, and if you also are in a place where you hear them, close your eyes and just think of their song. There is one or maybe more than one that even with the days coming closer to their time to be in retreat, they deserve a retreat before they migrate. There's one that's offering its song late into the dusk and early in the morning. I heard it this morning. So remember to look that up, the wood thrush. Remember, Joy Harjo is she is our present poet laureate, and I am not going to accurately remember. It's a southwestern tribe of which she is a member. Joy Harjo, our present poet laureate. I have loved her poetry since the first poem that I came across. And this one is how I will end this. Whoops. My iPad is opening here and kind of giving me a little bit of an interesting thing. I will end with just quiet after I finish the poem, thanking you right now for tuning in. Yeah, you know what? I would rewatch this with mute and enjoy this wonderful, serene view of this beautiful pond. Oh, I don't think I mentioned why was this one still relatively high, and that's because it's much deeper than the pond. It's human-made, that seems to be clear in its exterior, the perimeter, but it's taken advantage of the fact of there's evidently a lot of springs under this. Oh, there's another ripple. Oh my gosh. Okay, I got a quick. So it stays pretty full. It stays very cold. And if you're wondering if I ever go swimming here, I'll answer that question next time. I wish you all very well. I will likely make a video. The one is really kind of percolating. And oh, there's a monarch butterfly. across the pond. Okay, see what you can see as you listen to Joy Harjo. And we will be gathering again in a week or two. Thank you so much. Take very good care. Much love from Lightspring Glen. And here is Joy Harjo's poem, Remember. Remember the sky that you were born under. Know each of the stars' stories. Remember the moon. Know who she is. I met her in a bar once in Iowa City. Remember the sun's birth at dawn. That is the strongest point of time. Remember sundown and the giving away tonight. Remember your birth, how your mother struggled to give you form and breath. You are evidence of her life and her mother's and hers. Remember your father. He is your life also. Remember the earth whose skin you are. Red earth, black earth, yellow earth, white earth, brown earth. We are earth. Remember the plants, trees, animal life, who all have their tribes, their families, their histories too. Talk to them. Listen to them. They are alive poems. Remember the wind. Remember her voice. She knows the origin of this universe. I heard her singing Kiowa war dance songs at the corner of 4th and Central once. Remember that you are all people. Remember that you are all people and that all people are you. Remember that you are in this universe and that this universe is you. Remember that all is in motion, is growing, is you. Remember that language comes from this. Remember the dance that language is, that life is. Remember.